So,
all right, so let's take a stab at who the leaker is. Who could the leaker be? Yeah, because if it's somebody who's not necessarily on our side all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's certain people, like Lindsey Graham hates you all the time.
Yeah.
He's not going to leak anything.
That wouldn't seem to be.
Here's the first thing that you need to know. Look at the middle TV here, and you'll see Fox News, and you see who's on TV.
Yeah. Karl Rove.
Karl Rove. Mm-hmm. You need to know that, first of all, Karl Rove is the Iran in this scenario. Okay? Karl Rove is the guy who is absolutely the head of the snake for this big progressive GOP. Let's keep the incumbents in. And remember, Karl Rove is the guy who everybody is mad at. He's out of the job. Remember, remember he spent everybody's money.
Yeah, a lot of people. The big money is mad at him. Is what you're
there's
saying,
nothing there's nothing that makes a billionaire more angry than somebody saying, listen, I've got the answer. I'm going to solve all of this. All you have to do is give me, $10 million and I'll solve it. And then he doesn't solve it. That's the problem. So he's made all of these millionaires and billionaires pissed at him. I've met a lot of them that gave a lot of money, and they're like, I can't take Karl Rove. So Karl Rove has got to take out anybody else who has a competing vision. He's got to take out the Freedom Works. He's got to blame it on them. Mm-hmm. You know who causes this problem? It's Freedom Works. You know who caused this problem? The Senate conservatives. That's what the deal is. This is all about Karl Rove and his little plan. And Karl Rove and his allies. And anybody, you've got to do your own homework here. Who is Karl Rove working with? Who is Karl Rove? Who is propping him up? Who is helping him? Mm-hmm. Who in the Senate is a Karl Rove buddy? Because Karl Rove is the one who is, there's another one, and I'm not going to get into him today, but there is another one that we will be talking about that is also a real problem. He's the guy who is the real problem with the GOP when it comes to the Muslim Brotherhood. He's the guy responsible for most of the Muslim Brotherhood problems in the GOP. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know. These guys are in with the Karl Roves of the world, and that's what this is about. When you look at Ted Cruz, why are they coming after Ted? Why do they hate him so much? Try to figure this one out. Why do they hate him so much? Why are the Republicans coming after this guy so hard? Well, Ted Cruz is from Texas. Who else is from Texas?
John Cornyn.
Karl Rove.
Karl Rove. Mm-hmm. Well, the whole Bush.
Oh, yeah.
The whole Bush family.
So, from Texas, Karl Rove. Pat, how many billionaires did we sit with? How many millionaires from Texas did we sit with? Where they all said, no, you don't know. You don't know Carl's machine. Yeah. You don't know what he's built. That's not going to happen.
Does Ted Cruz have a chance?
No
he doesn't
way.
have a chance. You're barking up the wrong tree there.
I'm putting all of my money in.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why you've got to take out Ted Cruz is because Ted Cruz has just proven that if you just shoot straight, you are who you say you are. You just talk about the Constitution and actually believe it. It doesn't matter how many millionaires and billionaires are on your side. The people will come rallying to you. And then what happens? If you actually go to Washington and you actually do what you tell the American people you're going to do, you're out of control. Wait a minute. We've lost control on everything. We've lost control of the way to get people elected. We've lost control because he doesn't want our money, nor does he need our money. And he's actually going to listen to the American people instead of us. That guy's got to be stopped. That's what's happening. That's why people I don't know what happened to Peter King. I've always respected Peter King. Now, maybe I've been wrong, but I've always respected him. You know, Peter King, what's really interesting about Peter King, wasn't Peter King one of the first people when the NSA came out, all of a sudden to come out and say, hey, there's nothing wrong with the NSA spying on people. They're not doing any of that.
I believe, yeah, he was on that side of the argument.
And that was one of the first times I ever saw Peter King where I was like, wait a minute, what? What was that? What's that, Peter? And now look at Peter is leading this. Peter has become the Anthony Weiner. Do you remember when Anthony Weiner was in Congress and all of a sudden he started leading these investigations on us and Goldline and everything else? Remember that? Mm-hmm. He was the attack dog for the real powers. And that's what Peter King has become. Peter King has become, I mean, I'm not saying that he's doing a selfie, and please, Peter, don't. But he's become the Anthony Weiner attack dog for the progressive right. He's doing the bidding of whom, Pete? Who are you working for? Who is promising you something? Because Peter now has become this attack dog. And this is all about the control of the Republican Party. Listen to me carefully. You're about to win. And I've been saying that now for a while, but I know it to be true. You're about to win. These guys are in full-fledged panic. And this is all about the next election. They've got to destroy Ted Cruz, and then Mike Lee will be next. The last thing that can happen is to get another Ted Cruz in there. Louis Gohmert, I would ask you to pray. I'm not talking to Louis, I'm talking to you. Pray that miracles happen, and if Louis Gohmert is supposed to run, that he runs against Cornyn. There is no reason we have Cornyn in. You imagine having Ted Cruz and Louis Gohmert in the U.S. Senate, how afraid they'd be then? Because Louis's not afraid. Ted's not afraid. Mike's not afraid. And that's what they fear. See, there are those people that will go to Washington and they'll think, I've got to play the game. I'm going to play the game. But you are always lost when you play the game. You're always lost.
This shows you, though, why people play the game. Because they are excoriated. They are isolated and alienated in the Senate when they
but see, they're not alone this time. They're not alone this time because we have the Blaze. We have Breitbart. We have Drudge. Look at what Drudge is doing right now. Drudge isn't playing that GOP game. Mm-hmm. I don't think Breitbart is playing that GOP game. So you actually have some sources out there. More importantly, we have you with Facebook and Twitter. If you're not on Facebook or Twitter, and look, I'm not a guy who says get Facebook and Twitter, but just for the connections, just to be able to send the information out. We told you last week that the Blaze on social media is in the top, is number 11 out of all of the media sources. We beat USA Today, we beat CBS News, we beat ABC News, we beat all of them. Fox, I think, is 3 digits higher than we are, 3 places higher, but that's because they combine Fox News and Fox Sports. If you break those apart, we beat Fox.com on social interaction. This is huge because if you take Fox and the Blaze out, if I'm not mistaken, help me on my memory here, I don't think there was anybody that was conservative in the top 10 except for Fox, was there?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think there was. I think it was Fox, and we were number 11. So that's it. And they know it's all about social interaction. It is all about getting these stories and passing them on. This story would never be told. Look at, have you seen this in the mainstream media? All you're seeing in the mainstream media is the torching of people like Ted Cruz and Louis Gohmert. I mean, when I saw the banner underneath Louis Gohmert's face on Fox the other day, I about had an aneurysm because I know exactly what's going on here. And Louis was helping the World War II people, the veterans. He's helping them. Now, how is that not something that everybody should agree on? He's helping the World War II veterans. Underneath him was the banner, Louis Gohmert explains himself or
answers to charges.
He's only playing politics.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's your smear. There's your smear. No, we're not smearing him. We're just saying that he's answering charges. Excuse me? Louis Gohmert stands alone to help veterans. Louis Gohmert takes on the administration for World War II veterans, not answers charges that he's only doing this for political reasons. It's very, very subtle. But there are old guards and new guards, and I proudly stand at the gate of the new guards. And there are several of us out there. But you need to strengthen those people. You need to strengthen yourself. You need to know you're about to win. And I am not one to tell you to get involved in Washington politics, because I think Washington politics sucks. But I will tell you this. If you're going to give money for candidates, I have said the whole time, how do we find the candidates? How do we find the candidates? How do we find the candidates? I don't know. That's not my job. That's not what I do. I'm a storyteller. I'm a guy who can tell the story. I'm a guy who can report on it. I can help people understand it. I can tell American stories to help us remember who we really are. That's my job. My job, Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity, they're great at telling you the political thing. I can tell you this. It's very simple now to figure out what you need to do to support the people in Washington. How can I support them? How can I support them? The enemies in the GOP, the ones who are trying to stop the Tea Party in the GOP, and make no mistake, they're trying just as hard, if not harder, than the Democrats. Because the Democrats aren't afraid of the Tea Parties. Because we're not voting them out. We're voting the people like Lindsey Graham out first. So you want to know how to help? This is how you do it. You click on the red contribute button at freedomworks.org and you contribute. Click on the red contribute button. It's on the upper right-hand corner, freedomworks.org, or you can call them 888-564-6273 and contribute. The other one that has been named, as I told you today, by Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell comes out and says, if you are standing with these guys, if you take $1, you are an enemy of the Senate, you're an enemy of mine, and an enemy of the GOP. The other one is the one that was started by Jim DeMint. Now, I don't know about you, but I trust Jim DeMint over Mitch McConnell. If Mitch McConnell and the other guy who is yet unnamed, because I don't have a name yet, but I think I know who it is. If these two say you're a traitor to the Republican Party, if you're involved with either of these organizations, there's your roadmap. There's your roadmap. Don't give a dime to the GOP. Give it to these two organizations, FreedomWorks and the SenateConservatives.com.